Right, guys. So in this training, what I am going to be talking about is I'm actually going to be talking about a way to actually predictably grow your tutoring business. And the way you do that is by actually tracking your daily, weekly, and monthly activities, and you set goals for yourself. Because as we know, if we don't measure something, there's no way to actually improve upon it and then actually grow your business, right? And so I'm gonna hop in here real quick on the whiteboard and kind of show you guys exactly how I do it. I'm a very visual person, so I actually have a whiteboard in my house, and I have all this stuff that I'm gonna show you just basically drawn up on my whiteboard. And every single day I go in there and I fill it in. And so there's something called a daily scorecard. There's something called your monthly revenue activities. They're the actual activities that are going to take your business from where it is today and actually, grow it over time. And then your actual revenue goals, right? And so I'm going to show you, these are all like scorecards because like, in the game of sports, they keep score, right? And that's how they know if they're they're staying on task, if they're winning, because they're very competitive, right? So I like to be very, very competitive with myself and with my business. I'm a very competitive person by nature, and so it kind of adds a fun element to trying to grow your business. And at the same time, if you're not tracking and measuring your metrics along the way, you're going to have no idea where to pivot, what's working, what's not working, how to, what are the activities you need to double down on, what activities maybe you don't need to be doing anymore. There's no way to actually do that if you're not keeping track of everything that you're doing. And so this is actually something that I learned from my business coach, my business mentor. Because he specializes in growth of companies. And so he was like, Richard, you have to do this thing. And at first, I wasn't as consistent as I wanted to be or as I should have been, because it's one of those things that in business, it's kind of boring. But what I've learned is some of the boring things in business are actually the things that propel you the furthest, the fastest, right? So I'm going to hop into my whiteboard here real quick. Let me do this. One moment. Here we go. Cool. And so what I do, so we're gonna start with, I actually have a picture of mine just so I can reference it. Um, the first thing is gonna be your daily daily activity scorecard. Okay. And so, like I said, I'm a very visual person. I have this on my whiteboard, but you can also just hop into like Google Sheets, make an Excel spreadsheet. And I'm actually going to be, so everybody who's like a part of Smart Tutor and stuff is actually going to get this. I'm going to create templates for them and send it over to them. So hopefully that'll help. But basically, let's get back to this. What I do is I have like a daily activity scorecard. Okay. And so on this scorecard, at the very top, you're gonna have all of your dates. Like let's say this month has 30 days, right? So you'd have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, right? And then I break this down like this, something like this. And then on the left side are all the key metrics that I think are important for my business for growth. So and it's going to be different depending on how you measure things. But how I do it is this one. The very first one for me is page views. So number of page views. I know, forgive my handwriting there, but the number of page views, right? And so every single day, like let's say it's the second of the month, I'll go in here, I'll look at my Google Analytics, I'll look at how much traffic I actually drove to my site, and I'll put that number here. So I'll say, okay, today I got 20 visitors, right? And then the next thing would be the number of leads is very important to me. I measure a lot of my growth based off of leads, because the more leads I have, I know the more customers I'm going to have. You can have the next one could be like number of interactions that day. So the amount of people you actually spoke to that day about your business and opened up conversation. it could be how many people claimed your free assessment, like whatever your offer is. Like, let's say you're offering a free tutoring session, and that's a main offer that you use to bring people into your business. You could have a row that says that, people that claim free session. And if no one claimed the free session that day, you'd put 0. And if people did claim that free session, you would put 1 or 2 or 3, however many people did that, or whatever that is. So I always do that off of offer. Of one of my main offers. So like if one of your main offers is a free consultation, then you say how many people, number of free consultations claimed, right? And you want to measure that and you want to track that result. How many people, then the next one could be like, how many people bought tutoring from you that day? How many new customers did you get, right? The next one could be how many cancellations of customers did you get? The next one I like to do is revenue for that day. So how much revenue did I make that day in my business? And then the last one down here, I like to say total revenue. So that's going to be the total revenue that I'm at for that month, right? And so I go in here, and every single day, either at midnight, at the end of the day, or typically it's the next morning, I wake up, I have my cup of coffee, and I fill out my daily activity scoreboard, and I look at my metrics. And it's important because a lot of people, they say like, why do you need like this whole thing laid out like this? Because I want to look at it on a daily perspective. Because there's a lot of platforms, for example, like Google advertising, they have analytics and stuff, and you can look at it for the day or the past 7 days. But I like to look at things on a day-to-day basis, because what you'll notice certain things as you do certain activities. Let's say you have 20 visitors that day, 15 visitors this day, but then this day you get 60 visitors, some random like weird spike. Then you can go and analyze this day and say, okay, what did I do that day? Why did I have such a spike in traffic or leads or customers or whatever that may be? And then you can double down on that. Say, okay, you know what? Well, on this day, I actually sent out a newsletter of one of my most popular blogs, and people loved it. And now I've got a bunch of extra traffic from that, which led to another customer, etc. So then you can say, okay, well, this activity is obviously working for me, so I want to do that more. Does that make sense? And that's how you grow. And then, if you have days of really low traffic, like you have 2 visitors that day, right? You ask yourself, well, why did I only get 2 visitors that day? And you're going to look at all of your data on a day-to-day basis, and it's going to allow you to refine the activities that you actually do on a day-to-day basis, and figure out what activities are working for you, what activities are not. How many people do you need to talk to, or how many leads you have to get per day to actually turn someone into a paying customer, right? And all of this information really, really matters. So that's the daily activity scorecard. This is something I do every single day. Okay. And then I have 2 other cards that I want to talk about. I have a visual marketing scorecard. So let me grab that real quick. Visual, and this is one of my favorite things here. Visual marketing scorecard, right? Put that here. Let's go back to the pencil. And what I do is, so I have certain activities that I want to do every single month, right? And so, for example, I will say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, because it's 4 weeks, right? And I say, okay, I'm gonna write a blog every, that's supposed to be a B if you're wondering. I want to write a blog every single week for my business, okay? And then let's say I want to also do I don't know, a webinar, right? So webinar every single week. And let's say every single week I want to write a newsletter, right? So newsletter. And then what I'll do, and then let's say, for example, I want to add one more thing. Let's say every 2 weeks, I want to do some sort of, I want to make a YouTube video, let's just say, for example. So every 2 weeks, I want to make a YouTube video. And these are going to be the activities that I want to accomplish every single month to push my business forward. Right now I can visually see that. It's not in my head or even on paper out of sight or on a spreadsheet that I barely look at, right? It's something I can visually see. And so what I'll do is it's kind of fun because I want to see all of these activities scratched off by the end of every single month, right? So once I go write this blog, I say, okay, boom, I'm done with this one, right? We'll even do red, make it colorful out here. Boom, red, right? Done, I'm done. I've done one activity, that's awesome, right? Okay, I sent out my newsletter, boom. I wrote my YouTube video, and I did a webinar, boom. So I've done all those activities, and you're gonna start to see how many activities you're actually getting done, and you're gonna start to see if you're slacking, right? Because this is a visual representation of what you're doing. If you only cross this off and it's the end of the month, you'd be like, shoot, I really slacked off. Like, why is my business not growing? It's not growing because you're not doing the activities that you told yourself you're gonna do every single month, right? And so at the end of the month, ideally, you want every single one to be crossed off. But if you're honest with yourself, you can look at this at the end of the month and say, okay, I did pretty good, but I should have done one more webinar, one more blog post, 2 more newsletters I missed out on. So next month, let's try to get even more. And you want to be able to do this until you're consistently crushing your goals, right? And what you'll notice is in your daily scorecard, the days you do certain activities are most likely going to be the days that you're getting better results and you're performing better, right? And so what I do is, like, let's say I send out a newsletter, I'll actually take note on what day that was. Like, let's say it was the 6th. It was the 6th. Then I'll write here like that I sent out my newsletter, and I'll look at my metrics and see if they improved or what changed on that day. And so this is, again, because over time, maybe you learn, you're like, you know what, my blogs aren't really doing that well. So either one, I need to improve my process of writing my blogs and getting them out in the world, or you remove that activity and replace it with a better one. Okay, and this is how you improve upon that. So those are the 2 scorecards that I really like, but there's one more that I think is a lot of fun and that I have on my whiteboard. It's the visual sales scorecard. So let me kind of move this off to the side a little bit. So visual sales scorecard. And for this one, this is going to be like the goals of your sales for that month. So let's say, for example, you sell a package of tutoring, and each package you sell, let's say the cheapest one is $350, right? So you're going to say, okay, 350, 350, 350. And let's say you have a larger package at 600. You say, okay, I'm going to sell 2 of those this month. And let's say you have one larger package that's like $1,000. And so you say, okay, this month, my goal is to sell 3 $350 packages, 2 $600 packages, and 1 $1,000 package. That is my goal for this month. And so when that happens, you go here and you say, okay, boom, I just got this. That's awesome. So I hit this one, right? Say, okay, boom, I just sold a $600 package. Awesome. I just sold another $350 package. And let's say the month ends, you say, okay, cool. So I'm on track because I sold 3 packages, 600, a 350, a 350. But what can I do better next month to make sure that I hit those goals, to make sure that I can sell this $1,000 package, this other $600 package, right? So this is a visual way to actually see your goals, write your goals out there, your revenue goals, and try to crush them. Because again, if you're not actively measuring your goals and measuring the results, you're never going to change the outcome. So if you do these things every single month, it's a visual way to see if you're doing all your marketing, if you're hitting your sales goals, and what different metrics can you improve upon, what's working, what isn't, etc. And so this is a really fun way to be kind of competitive with yourself. And what I do is I always reward myself. So I'll set rewards for myself. Okay, if I fill out every single daily activity scorecard like clockwork every single day. By the end of the month, it's completely filled out. I didn't miss a single day. I'm going to reward myself with something, because you want to celebrate your small victories, right? Visual marketing scorecard. If I cross off every single thing for that month, then I'm going to do something really cool for myself, right? I'm going to take my girlfriend out on a nice dinner, or I'm going to buy myself this watch that I really wanted, or whatever. It doesn't even have to be crazy. You know, I'm gonna, you know, give myself 2-hour massage, whatever that could be. Like, give yourself little rewards, because it really does try to, like, because you're competing with yourself and you're trying to get that cool thing at the end of the day, right? And then visual sales is money, so sometimes you can make that reward even in a little bit bigger if you want. But you say, if I'm able to hit my sales goals and I'm able to cross every single one of these bad boys on this guy, I'm going to do XYZ for myself, and I'm going to be super happy, and I'm going to love it. And then every single month, you readjust, right? You can either add stuff to your visual marketing scorecard, you can take it off, you can add more sales. Typically, I never really reduce it. So like, if I don't hit all my sales goals, I'll leave it the same until I hit all of those, and then I'll add more. I'll say, okay, I want to sell another additional 600 packages this month and another $350 package this month, and I'll just continue to do it kind of like that. So cool, yeah. So this is how I do that. If you guys have any questions, let me know. But that's basically how I measure and track my my progress in my business.
I appreciate that information. I really do.
No problem. Do you have any questions on that process?
No, not at this moment.
No? Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna conclude the training there then. Hopefully you take this, go sit down, have some fun with it, draw it out. And you know, once you're done, if you do it, like, post it in the group, and I'll keep you accountable. I think it's fun to do. And with that being said, I hope you have an awesome Friday, and thank you for coming here today, Karen.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a great day.
You too. Enjoy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.